Coming up, Jason Manford's comedy gig sells out in minutes as teenager Stephen Sutton's charity total tops 2 million.
The growing problem of abandoned ponies. The RSPCA says it's a crisis.
Plus, move over selfies. We meet the farmers and their felfies. All that at 6. Coming up, as the charity total raised by teenager Stephen Sutton tops 2.3 million, we'll find out how it'll be spent.
Now on ITV, the news from your area.
Hello, welcome to ITV News Central. On the programme tonight, sold out in minutes, the comedy night to raise money for cancer patient Stephen Sutton.
13 horses are found dumped near waterworks. The RSPCA say the problem known as fly grazing is getting worse.
They dump them, just abandon them, in the hope that somebody else will pick up the pieces.
Crunch time, Birmingham City look to put an end to their blues.
And you've heard of the selfie, but what about the felfie?
Good evening. We start tonight with more on a story we've been following all week, that of terminally ill teenager Stephen Sutton from Staffordshire. Today, a comedy night to raise funds for the cancer charity he's raising money for sold out in just 4 minutes.
The evening in Birmingham was organised by Jason Manford on behalf of Stephen, whose fundraising efforts have so far exceeded £2.25 million. Mark Goff reports.
He's inspired people across the country and around the world. Stephen Sutton has terminal cancer. He's only 19. When he appeared on ITV News Central in December, he revealed how he wanted to make the best use of the time he has left. He created a bucket list, a wish list of things he wants to do before he dies, including skydiving, crowd surfing in a dinghy at a concert, and raising £10,000 for the Teenage Cancer Trust. He's raised that many times over. By the end of last year, through motivational talks and by recruiting celebrities, he raised more than £500,000. On Tuesday, he posted on the internet what he thought would be his final message, a farewell thumbs up, saying, "I haven't got much time left." He revised his fundraising target to £1 million. And by Wednesday lunchtime, he'd reached that goal. Then yesterday, he wrote, "Still here and fighting," and he said it was phenomenal. The money continued to roll in, and by early evening yesterday, his Just Giving page topped £2 million. It's thought the money's been coming in at a rate of £1,000 a minute.
Well, we're joined now by Nigel Revel from the Teenage Cancer Trust. Nigel, I think I'm right in saying this will be the biggest single donation your organisation has ever received. What do you make of Stephen's campaign?
Well, we're all completely blown away by it, to be honest. We all know he's an extraordinary young man. I'm very lucky to know him quite well. And when he embarked on this campaign, we kind of hoped he'd be successful because it was something dear to him. But I don't think any of us had any idea as to the scale of what was going to happen when he posted that message on his Facebook page on Tuesday. The last 72 hours, it's been absolutely amazing.
Has Stephen requested that the money is spent in a certain way? How do you plan to spend it?
He hasn't requested that, but he's made it plain what the sort of things that he's really interested in. And if you look at his Just Giving page, you'll see that. He's very interested in the fact that we as an organisation are set up purely to help with young people dealing with cancer and give them any support we can. And the ways that he's very keen on us pursuing that is the provision of specialist facilities. We build specialist units. We've got 28 at the moment. There are 3 in Birmingham in hospitals there. He's very keen on that. He's also very keen on the support that we offer via events like Find Your Sense of Tumour, which is a conference in Nottinghamshire we hold each year for 300 young people with cancer. And Stephen spoke at that one in October last year, blew everyone away, got a 10-minute standing ovation, incredible. And he's also very keen on the education of young people because he says he wished he'd known about cancer and it could affect people his age prior to it happening to him. And so we educate young people about the signs of cancer and how to support other young people when it happens to them.
Nigel, you mentioned the separate wards for teenagers in hospital. Yeah. How important is that?
It's incredibly important because the existing system has always drawn a line at age 16. So if you're a 6'2" strapping 15-year-old, you're classed as a child, which means you'll go in a unit full of toddlers. If you're 16 and above, you're classed as an adult, and that would mean you're being with people who are likely to be older than your grandparents. So these units that we build at Teenage Cancer Trust are specifically addressing the unique needs of 13 to 24-year-olds who are dealing with cancer. And any young person that's in one of those wards will tell you what a difference that makes.
Well, Nigel, I know you, along with us, have been kind of swept along with this this week. Of course, we won't forget that there's a family in the midst of it all going through a very tough time. We have to leave it there, but I'm sure you'll join us in wishing them all the very best. Thank you, Nigel.
Absolutely. Thank you very much.
Well, actually, Stephen has just tweeted and he said, currently I'm feeling well. He's also tweeted a video sharing his experience and positivity. It's on our website, itv.com/central, if you'd like to take a look.
Let's get some other news now. And a former boyfriend of a woman who threw herself off a motorway bridge after he stalked her for months has been jailed for 2 years. Kamaljit Sidhu jumped from a bridge over the M6 at Great Bar in Birmingham after she was harassed for months by Ryan Day. He threatened her, contacted her friends and tried to find her after she ended their relationship. Kamaljit, who was known as Cam, wrote online that she was frightened of Ray. Her family said her death has left a big hole in their lives.
Cam was extremely frightened in relation to Ryan Day's behaviour. He was following her, he was constantly calling her, he was hacking into her Facebook account. She was extremely distressed by this behaviour.
Now, claims have emerged that boys in one of the Birmingham schools at the centre of the so-called Trojan horse plot were taught that a husband doesn't need his wife's consent to have sex with her. In British law, that's tantamount to rape.
The allegations were made by 3 former teachers to the British Humanist Association, a charity which promotes equal treatment in law for everyone, regardless of religion or belief.
Well, our correspondent Andy Bevan joins us now in the studio with more on this. So, Andy, I understand these allegations were made before the Trojan horse affair became public.
Yes, that's right. They were made by 3 former teachers at Park View School in Alum Rock. Now, Park View, you'll remember, is one of 25 schools currently being investigated after a letter was discovered that allegedly outlined a plot by hardline Muslims to take over control of those schools. That's the Trojan horse part of all this. These latest allegations date back to 2011, but at that time the former teachers didn't want them to be made public. Now, however, following repeated denials by Parkview officials of anything untoward going on at the school, they've asked the BHA to go on record with them. So, what are the allegations? Well, they include boys being given a worksheet saying that girls must obey their husbands and that wives are not allowed to say no to sex. Creationism being taught in science lessons while the theories of evolution were dismissed. Pupils who showed positive views about 7/7 and 9/11 not being challenged about them due to cultural sensitivity. And girls not being allowed to take part in sport activities with boys or where a male coach was present.
It's good to hear from the school that when the accusation, when this issue came to light, that they held an assembly to try and put across the opposite view, and they claim that the worksheet that we quoted from in what we put out today didn't exist. We don't know about that, but nonetheless it's extremely concerning that this issue ever arose in the first place, and I think that this is something that certainly needs to be looked at and is not acceptable in any school.
Well, as you heard there, Parkview Education Trust has responded to the latest claims by posting a statement on its website. Part of that statement says, after a lesson in 2011, boys had misunderstood a historical reference to do with cultural expectations of sex within marriage. As soon as the school became aware of this, it held a special assembly of Year 10 boys to make it clear that sex without informed consent is rape.
Well, Andy, today another voice has been added to the many about this story, hasn't it?
Yes, Carolyn Downs, who's the Chief Executive of the Local Government Association, she has expressed concern that some of the schools involved are academies. Now, that means they fall outside the control of the local authority. She says there are too many of these academies in general and that central government can't control all of them or monitor all of them. But she says she's also worried about the 3 different investigations by Birmingham City Council, Ofsted and the Department for Education into the Trojan horse affair. In her statement, she said, governance, accountability and responsibility is now so muddled that important information has not been shared because staff, parents and governors do not know where it should be raised. So there you go, another example of why this story still has a long way to go.
It does. OK, thank you very much for joining us, Andy. Thanks.
OK, let's move on now. The RSPCA is warning that the abandonment of unwanted ponies and horses is getting worse. The rescue organisation says it's been at crisis levels for some time and it's been struggling to cope with the numbers of animals being dumped by their owners.
The warning comes as the future is decided for 13 horses left on land at a water treatment works. Keith Wilkinson has the latest.
They look cute. Despite that, more and more of them are finding themselves being dumped. Abandoned by their owners, often just left in other people's fields. It's become known as fly grazing. Many of the victims finish up here with the RSPCA in Shropshire.
It's a massive problem, and all the equine charities, the RSPCA, World Horse Welfare and Red Wings, they're really battling against it because where are these horses going to go? And we can't always find who the owners are because most of them aren't microchipped. So it's a huge problem. And only a few weeks ago, our equine rehoming officer was dealing with 700 horses that were fly grazing. And so it's unimaginable, the huge extent. Because the value of the horse has dropped, and people are still breeding them, hoping that they're still going to be able to sell them, then they can't afford to feed them, and so they dump them, just abandon them, and in the hope that somebody else will pick up the pieces.
This is one of the many latest examples of fly grazing. The field is owned by Severn Trent Water, right next to its water treatment works near Nestcliff in Shropshire. Severn Trent says it's now heard from the owner, having posted a legal warning that the animals must be removed. The company says there are no plans to have the horses put down.
No, we've been through a legal process. The abandonment notice is part of that process. It spells out a number of options. As a responsible company, we don't want that to happen. We're pleased that the owner has come forward and we'll be working on the next steps over the coming weeks and days.
So suddenly, through no fault of its own, a water company is having to look after the welfare of animals while this problem is sorted out. For hundreds of other horses and ponies, their future too is much the same. And for some, that could mean starvation. Keith Wilkinson, ITV News.
Police are searching for a man wanted allegedly for kidnapping and torturing a man in Birmingham. Officers have released this photo of 25-year-old Luke Jones from Ladywood. They want to question him about an attack which took place in September 2012, in which a man was held captive for 2 days and assaulted.
And there is plenty more news for the Midlands on our website. And if you go there, you might be inspired to nominate someone who you think will benefit from ITV Central's and the big lottery funds, the People's Millions. You still have time to enter. Full details can be found on our website, itv.com/peoplesmillions.
And stay right there because there's still plenty more on the programme, including a look ahead to the weekend's sport action with our Midlands teams facing a crucial weekend.
Plus, the Ballroom star who desperately needs a dance partner.
Well, next tonight, the internet craze that's sweeping the nation. You've heard of the selfie, shall we?
Yeah, breathe in. Me, I meant.
Charming. We'll tweet that later. Well, what about the felfie? It's where farmers take snaps of themselves with their animals, and it even has its own website with hundreds of felfies from around the world.
Well, now, as part of British Beef Week, the craze has taken on a new dimension. The selfie has become the beefy. Gareth Owen has been to a farm near Rugby to find out what on earth is going on.
It started with the fashionable Twitterati. Then, Hollywood got on the bandwagon. It's the must-have on every celebrity Twitter feed and Facebook page. And even the Prime Minister, royalty, and the Pope are at it. So where next? Yes, the selfie revolution has reached the farm gate and some of the most isolated corners of the country. Wasty has been gripped by the so-called selfie craze, and for Great British Beef Week, it's taken on a new name, the beefy. The aim to take a snap of yourself with a cow. Once I persuaded her to put down the smartphone, she told me there is a serious side.
Social media is an absolutely fantastic opportunity to be able to communicate the great message about farming and how food is produced. And actually the supply chain we have here at the farm is very short. We have beasts here that will go direct to the butchers within a few miles away, and it's fantastic to be able to promote the welfare, the way that we care for the animals.
And they're all quite keen to get on camera anyway, aren't they?
Yeah, they're not shy.
We saw off the back of the horse meat scandal that people wanted to know where their food came from, and that gave us the opportunity as an industry and individual farmers to go onto the likes of Twitter and Facebook, post pictures of what we're doing on farm, showing all the great work we're doing on farm, so people can see exactly where their food is coming from.
We like to break the mould. We're not that sort of stereotypical chewing straw flat cap. We like to think that we're quite a forward-thinking and diverse industry.
So a serious side, good for the industry, but ultimately, it's just a good internet craze, isn't it? If you can't beat them, join them. It's Gareth Owen, ITV News.
It's a bit odd, isn't it, as a trend?
It is, isn't it?
Yeah, good message though, good causes, I guess, but yeah, a bit strange. Still to come this Friday evening on the programme, can you help this young Ballroom star find a female dance partner? We'll tell you why he's struggling in a few moments.
Steve's not struggling though, he's got loads of sport for us. Working hard all day.
Oh, well, yes, as always. Do I ever stop?
I'll get on with it.
No sympathy. Listen, this is one football season that is going right to the wire for many of our teams. Details on the way.
ITV Central Sports Report, sponsored by WeWantAnyCar.com, the Cash for Cars website.
So not many weeks left of football action this season and still so much to be decided. West Bromwich Albion and Aston Villa are still in the mix when it comes to relegation from the Premier League and have crucial games this weekend. It's also looking increasingly bleak for Birmingham City, who'll be desperate to end their 3-match losing streak against Leeds tomorrow. Michael Sibbott takes a look at this weekend's vital games.
Hello. 4 games left for Pepe Mel to steer West Brom away from the relegation zone. Tomorrow's game at the Hawthorns against West Ham is their last at home until the final day of the season.
The final. Only one match.
Yes, I think that at the end of the game we all go home to our homes. I think that the Premier League the season must be over for us. If we lose the game, well then we may well have to go on to the Stoke game, which wouldn't be very good for our hearts.
Monday's defeat against Man City means West Brom have won just 2 of their last 14 league games. Liam Ridgewell was injured in that game and will miss the next 2.
Yes, well, we've played against pressure, under pressure in games against Cardiff and also at Norwich and also against Spurs in a massive game against a really strong side. And in these 3 games we've done very well. In the last 6 games we've actually won 2 of them and drawn 2 of them, so I believe that we are ready.
West Ham, though, are on a dismal run of form with 3 defeats in their last 3 games. Sam Allardyce knows it'll be a tough encounter.
They've been so close to so many victories and only slipped up in the dying seconds of 2 particular thrilling games that ended up 3-3. We don't want to be in that position. The pressure in that game will be pretty intense because we all know what's at stake and we have to handle it better than West Brom.
Both West Brom and Villa have a game in hand over Norwich, Cardiff and Fulham in 17th, 18th and 19th. For Paul Lambert's side, one win in the last 4 games should be enough, but it's been a tough week with speculation about the future ownership of the club.
This football club's been in a position of 4 years of mediocrity. That's the bottom line. It deserves to be a lot higher than what it is. It will need investment, that's for sure, to go and compete at the top end.
It's a similar story in the Championship for Birmingham. More relegation struggle. They were 4-0 down by half-time on Monday against Blackburn, a game they eventually lost 4-2. Lee Clark's side would be 6th in the league if the table was just on away points, but their next 2 games are at home. Their form at St Andrews must improve.
Obviously, when you lose 4-2 at home after being 4-0 down, doesn't paint the best picture. But no, the players have got good focus. We spoke at length after the game, and the response I got from the players was a real positive one. They understand. I've seen a focus in the last couple of days around the training complex, and they're ready.
Their goal difference is significantly better than the teams around them, which could be important come the end of the season. At the other end of the table, Derby are already guaranteed a playoff spot and could play Forest if they can sneak into 6th. Leicester are already confirmed as champions. In League One, Wolves too are already destined to finish top of the pile and could set a points record with a win against Coventry tomorrow. But a win for Stephen Pressley's side would all but confirm their survival. Shrewsbury, though, need a minor miracle to stay up. Anything less than 6 points from their last 2 games will condemn them to relegation. And finally, League Two, where Burton need a big win over Chesterfield to give them any hope of automatic promotion. They are, though, already guaranteed a playoff place.
So let's recap those all-important fixtures then. Stoke could move up to 9th with a win over Tottenham tomorrow. Villa travel to Swansea and West Brom host West Ham for their relegation battles. In the Championship, Birmingham need a win against Leeds. Derby head south to play Watford and Leicester go north to Huddersfield. In League One, Port Vale host Sheffield United tonight, while Shrewsbury and Walsall play tomorrow. And in League Two, Cheltenham face Rochdale, while Burton and Chesterfield meet on Sunday. So as we saw, Birmingham City really do need to improve to survive in the Championship, but the women's team are doing rather well. Good luck to Birmingham City ladies. They have the second leg of their Champions League semi-final on Sunday. It's in Stockholm against Tariso FF. First leg in Birmingham was goalless, so it's all to play for.
Ooh,
score 1
crossed,
and the opposition would have to score 2 because it has away goals and all that business. So
Yes.
fingers crossed they could really make history if they get to the final.
All to play for Hereford United tomorrow, by the way. Lose and they're going to be relegated. Or fail to win, I think, and they're going to be relegated.
Okay.
Not that interested, are you?
No, I am.
Okay, fine.
Glazing over?
No,
Hereford needs some good news, so that would be decent if they do well.
Yeah. Right, Steve, thank you. Now, you're going to like this one, though.
Yes.
If you've got a budding young ballroom dancer in your midst, here's a plea you might be able to help with, because Joshua Hicks has all the moves. What he doesn't have is a female dance partner.
Yes, the youngster from Wales has to make a trip to the Midlands every 2 weeks for lessons, and now the hope is he might find his dream dance partner here too. James Crichton-Smith reports.
Right foot back, replace, step to the side, forward on your left, 2, 3.
He's already won numerous competitions, trophies and competed at Blackpool, so Josh is no stranger to ballroom success. But he's been far less successful in finding a dance partner, and without one, his dream of one day being a British ballroom champion could be in doubt. Up until now, he's competed with one of his dance teachers, but as he looks to compete at a higher level, only a girl will do.
I always seem to get like a partner, and then all of a sudden they can't commit to it, and then they go, and then I get a bit disappointed, and I stop for like a week or so, and then I carry on doing dance until I find another partner. I started when I was 8, and it just feels really good. I just feel like I'm gliding across the floor or something.
Young men and young boys are like gold dust. Josh came in very keen and progressed very quickly through the ranks. Technique, very precise, which you've got to be for competitions. Very neat footwork, good pressure through the foot. Very good.
But that doesn't make finding a partner any easier. And for Josh's mum, Lisa, the logistics of Josh's dancing career add to the challenge.
Well, he dances once a week locally to his school, which is brilliant. But to actually facilitate the next level, he's had to move to Birmingham to dance lessons on a fortnightly basis. We go up there. And obviously competition-wise it could be anywhere and everywhere in the country.
And while the miles add up, Josh's next dance partner may just be over the horizon.
Aww.
Good that, he's very good, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. Come on, Josh.
Yeah, and if you know anybody, get in touch with us and we'll pass your details on. Superb.
Right then, should we have a look at the weather forecast? It's the weekend, we need to know what's going on. Kerry Gosney has the details.
A short break. Whatever the weather. ITV Local Weather, sponsored by CenterParcs.
Hello, good evening. A big thank you to Tony Watson for this evening's central weather photo. There will be some sunshine around this forthcoming weekend, and the good news is the temperatures will stay at average or just above for daytime and frost-free by night, but not exactly settled. We are expecting further spell of rain to come through during the course of tomorrow, but behind that some sunshine and scattered but potentially heavy showers with a little bit of a breeze to contend with as well this weekend. We've had a fairly wet day across the region today. Showers continue for this evening until around midnight, but this area of low pressure will bring that spell of rain from the southwest tomorrow morning. But the good news is that behind it, it does get a little bit better as the weekend progresses. So fewer showers and more in the way of drier spells as we head into Sunday. So for this evening, it continues fairly nasty. There will be further showery outbreaks of rain. There will be heavy, possibly thundery, continuing all the way through until around midnight. Then becoming drier and clearer with some misty low cloud before that rain pushes through tomorrow morning. Wet start tomorrow. Behind it, brighter skies and scattered, potentially sharp showers, but some decent temperatures. Fewer showers and a bit more in the way of sunshine for Sunday.
ITV Local Weather, sponsored by CenterParcs.
Just time for a reminder of tonight's top stories here on ITV News Central before we leave you this evening. A comedy night to raise funds for terminally ill teenager Stephen Sutton from Staffordshire sold out in just 4 minutes. The event in Birmingham was organised by comedian Jason Manford on behalf of Stephen, whose fundraising efforts have so far exceeded £2.25 million.
A former boyfriend of a woman who threw herself off a motorway bridge after he stalked her for months has been jailed for 2 years. Kamaljit Sidhu jumped from a bridge over the M6 at Great Bar in Birmingham after she was harassed for months by Ryan Day.
And the RSPCA is warning that the abandonment of unwanted ponies and horses is getting worse. It comes as 13 horses were found left on land at a water treatment works. And also just time to mention that you can of course get plenty more news from us on our website itv.com/central.
Right then, well that's all from us and the team here at ITV News Central. Do have a lovely weekend. We'll see you next week.
Goodbye.